welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit the great big subscribe button down below. Hey, please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, I post a new video, and then go give this video a thumbs up as we go along if you're enjoying the content. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and the founder of Asexualise Academy. Well, tonight's episode is a bit later than I usually have, but I am here now in this moment. So tonight's episode is all about why your partner or potential partner should be your best friend. So I went into Aldi today, which is not far from where I live. Aldi is a supermarket in the UK. And I was behind this couple who were being served by this guy at the supermarket. And this bloke was talking to the guy at the supermarket who worked there, and he was talking away, and they had something in common. I couldn't quite work out what it was. And this customer said to the guy behind who was processing his order, so the guy worked there, so the customer was saying to the guy who worked there, oh, you could do that with a mate. And the guy behind the counter was going, I don't have any mates. And he said, well, surely you have one mate. He goes, no, I honestly, I don't have any mates whatsoever. I have not one mate at all. And then there's the girl behind, who was works there. She goes, oh, I told him that I'll be his friend, but he doesn't want that. And then he was like making jokes with her, going, oh wow, like she says this now, she's nice in front of customers, but she's not nice behind the scenes to me, and she'll be punching me later. And they were kind of joking and messing around, and but no, I'm serious, I haven't got any friends. And he said that he'd been in a care home and that he'd been in care a lot in his life, and there are some other people been in care as well, and he separated from them, and been in care pretty much all his life. And it's quite sad. And I thought I remembered seeing him with a woman, so I thought it must be his girlfriend. So when it was my turn to to talk to him, because it was my order that was being processed next, I was speaking to him, and I was like, oh, haven't you got a girlfriend? Isn't she your best friend? He goes, I've got a wife. And I said, oh, right, okay. I said, I saw you with a girl, so I presumed she was a girlfriend. He goes, and I said, well, isn't your wife your best friend? And he couldn't answer me. He just shut up. He couldn't say that his wife was his best friend. And then the other woman behind him, who was serving the food, who was like, they were joking between each other. I just mentioned, when she said, oh, I told him I'd be his best friend, but he don't want to know. Then I told him I'd be a friend, I doesn't want to know, He couldn't answer, and she goes, oh, don't let your wife hear that, don't be like that when she walks through the door. And he couldn't answer. I said, oh, obviously she's not your best friend then. And I just found that really sad. I don't think you should be with someone in a relationship who's not your best friend. You have to have someone who's your best friend in order to make it work. Relationships are not easy. They're really, really not easy. I'm pleased to say that my parents have been married 50 years this year. My mum and dad on the 24th of May 2019. 50 years. It's a diamond wedding anniversary. Not many people can say that in the whole world. And they've stuck together through thick and thin. And they are really soulmates and best friends, and only my mum could be with my dad. She's made for him and him for her, really. And I'm very lucky and fortunate to have parents that have been married so long. I don't want marriage, but, I think it's really lovely that they've been together all that time. I'm very privileged. A lot of people can't even say that their parents are together anymore. They can't say that at all. I'm very fortunate. And the reasons why you should be with your best friend, and, if you're going to have a relationship, you should be with your best friend, because no one understands you better than your best friend. No one can make you feel as comfortable as your best friend. No one will understand you much as your best friend. No one will be able to share their secrets with you as much as your best friend. And you've already got that bond there, that really close bond that's kind of unbreakable, that deep emotional connection and bond. And I think if you're really, really truly best friends, it doesn't matter whatever happens, you'll always be best friends, fundamentally, And you've got to have that for a basis of relationship, because if you don't, you're not going to work hard to make it work. Because, you're not going to want to lose your best friend in a relationship, are you? You're just not going to want to lose them. So you're going to fight and do whatever it takes to keep the relationship. But obviously, if it's an unhealthy relationship, it's no good. But then if you're with your best friend, it should be as healthy as possible anyway, because you're going to try and compromise, work things out with them, help each other along in the relationship. You'll be able to just talk about things, discuss things. Whereas if you're with someone who's not your best friend, it's going to be harder, isn't it? It's going to be more distant, less emotional connection. Like if you kiss your best friend and be intimate with your best friend, that's going to be so much more, like worth gold, isn't it? Comparison to kissing someone who you don't really know that much. It's going to be more scary and more distant and maybe not right. But if you kiss your best friend and cuddle your best friend, make love to your best friend with the tongue, not with the genitals, then it's just going to be beautiful. And I wish for every asexual person, if they're going to be in a relationship, to be with their best asexual friend who's right to be in a relationship with. I think it's so important. Obviously, you can have best friends. Doesn't mean to say you should be in a relationship with every single best friend you've got. That's not what I mean. But I think it's essential to have someone who's your best friend as the foundation for a relationship, because no one's going to want it to work more than they do, because they're not going to want to lose you. They're going to want to fight for you. They're going to want to be by your side always. Going to want to love you. And I think when you're kissed and cuddled by your best friend, there's something so magical about that and special that I don't think you can get anywhere else, because that's true love, isn't it? When you love your best friend, that's true love, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So I really think that if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, that person really needs to be your bestest friend, bestest ever friend, someone that you can see yourself being with in years to come, someone you always want in your life, someone who you can't imagine life without, really. Because that's the thing, that best friend doesn't have to stick around. And if you get into a relationship, yeah, you want to keep all your best friends and you want to keep your best friends and all your friends. It's important too. But people do get their own lives, I'm not stupid. I know people get their own lives, Like, my best friends, I think, will always be my best friends, but they'll get partners and I'll wish them to. I want them to be happy, And when they get partners, their attention's going to be more on them, obviously, because I'd expect it to be. And so I really think that if you come across anyone in your life who you really love, who's your bestest friend, who you really want the relationship with, I think you should be with them. Because I think you might regret it if you don't sometimes. I think you might look and think, that person's with my best friend and I should be with them. That person's with my best friend, but it should be me who's there because I love them more than anything in the world. And I think sometimes you've got to look at life like that. Sometimes you've got to look at life like, well, if I become with my best friend in a relationship, like, what would happen? Like, it could end up really bad, couldn't it? Because you might lose a friendship. But if you don't end up in a relationship with someone who is a best friend to you, then what hope have you got for longevity? You haven't really, because you're more likely to want it to work with someone who's your best friend, because you're not, you've already built up that foundation there, that understanding, that deep commitment to the person even before you fully committed. Do you know what I mean? And so I was really sad when the guy in Aldi, like I was talking about at the beginning of this video, didn't class his wife as his best friend. I thought that was really, really sad. Because I'm thinking, you're spending the rest of your life with someone who's not even your best friend. What are they to you then? Do you know what I mean? And I think, if you don't love someone and they're not your best friend both together, then I think you shouldn't be with that person, because I think love and best friendships go together, and especially for asexuals, because asexuals love through a deep emotional connection. And so I think most asexual relationships, good asexual relationships, will start off with friendship because you need that deep emotional connection to form that bond to really get to understand the heart of the person, the mind of the person, the soul of the person, And I think like everyone loves differently. Every asexual gets attracted in different ways. Some asexuals who are panromantics, for example, it doesn't matter about looks. They couldn't care less about looks, some panromantics. It's all to do with the personality and the heart, Like I've had some guys who, like I've had different guys who are interested in me, asexual guys who, say that I'm really good looking. And then there's asexual guys who don't say stuff like that, but who really like me. So, I like to be told that I look nice, But at the end of the day, relationships have to be based on trust and someone that you really care about and love. And I don't think you're going to have that with someone who's not your best friend. How can you? You can't trust them as much. You can't care about them as much. And so I thought it was really sad that that guy in Aldi said that. Couldn't even bring himself to say his wife's his best friend. I mean, he's going to spend the rest of his life with someone who isn't his best friend. I just think that's so sad. I just think that's really sad. When I end up in a relationship, I hope it's with the guy who's my best friend because I don't think I could be with someone who wasn't. The thing is like, the last guy I was with, I was beginning to think he was a best friend to me, but I was wrong about that, Didn't work out, and unfortunately, the person wasn't who I thought he was, or maybe he was, but then wasn't. I don't know. That's gone now anyway, But I just think it's sad when people, you see these films. You see these films all the time on TV, if you're romantic or even if you're not romantic, you see these films and it's always, isn't it? There's like two characters. Well, there's always three characters, isn't there? Usually like a love story, right? I know if you're not romantic, you probably don't like me talking about romance as much, but I know some aromantics do like watching and reading romantic stuff, even though they don't feel romance themselves. And so, when you see those films and you always, don't you see like a woman and she's with this guy and he's like so handsome. He's like the vibrant star of the party and all the women fancy him, and then there's that guy in the background that's her best friend. You know the one. You must have seen films like that. I used to watch loads of Christmas movies, on TV, ones that led up to Christmas where they're romantic. They're like romantic films, like for 2 hours long. And it's always like the guy, like usually the storyline goes along the lines of, this woman's with this guy. This guy's a real stud, show off, all the rest of it. All the women fancy him. He's not trustworthy. And she's got this reliable, dependable, best friend, soulmate type of guy in the background, right? The guy who's always there for her. The guy who always from afar loves her. The guy who always adores her, the guy who always really wants to be with her, the guy who will never ever stop loving her, no matter what she does. The guy will always be there to pick up the pieces. The guy who will always be there for her till death do them part. And if you know what the storylines go like, she thinks this guy's wonderful that she's with. He's hot, he's handsome, he's really, great, charismatic. Everyone likes him. But he usually goes and has an affair. He has sex with another woman. He doesn't really give a toss about her. He's not there for her because, he can't connect to her on that fundamental, deep emotional connection level. And eventually, if the film's a really good, happy ending film, eventually she'll realise that the one that she loves, the true love of her life, was always staring at her in the face, in front of her. Yeah? And the real guy, who's the strongest guy ever for her, who she adores and he adores her, is the one that didn't look the most handsomest, wasn't the most charismatic guy at that time, wasn't the most popular guy, but was one who was steady, strong, reliable, trustworthy, always in the background, always caring for her, always being a shoulder to cry on, always being there for her. Because that's true love, isn't it? The other one's like, lust, infatuation, hot-headedness, intense feelings, but the one in the background is the one that truly loves her. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And I think it's sad when I see scenarios like that in real life, you know? I see I think in movies and books a lot because I'm a writer, as you know. And I think if this was a film now, what would happen next? If I was to take these two characters, what would I want to happen? What would I want them to do? What would be the best thing for these characters to do? You know, and always the storyline, always in those romantic sort of like Christmassy movies, it's usually always in the very, very end, the woman realizes that the guy she's always wanted is right there beside her, always has been and always will be. And he wasn't this hot, handsome, really guy in the beginning, but because she realizes he was a best friend, he's always been a best friend. And she loves him intensely and immensely, more than anything in the world, and he loves her more than anything in the world. And they go off happily ever after, knowing that whatever comes on, whatever happens in life, they'll always be together forever because they're best friends and they've got that deep emotional connection and bond. And I think that's a lot of, there's a lot of films like that where you do see this really handsome, charismatic guy, and he's an asshole, really, excuse my language, but you know that. You know that he's just after all the women. You know that that's basically what he does. And just because someone's really good looking doesn't mean to say they're the right person for you. It doesn't mean to say they're totally wrong and no one can get a good looking guy or girl, but it just means a lot of the time those are the ones that everyone's going to be after, And, a lot of them aren't good. I hope in the future that I find a really, really nice, beautiful guy for me who's my best friend, the love of my life, my soulmate, who'll do anything for me and I'll do anything for him. Obviously within reason, you don't want to hurt each other, but good stuff I'm talking about. Will really talk things through with me, I'll talk things through with them, and who will share ideas and dreams and goals, ambitions together, and who'll really be there for me and me for them. I wish every asexual to find the one that they're truly meant to be with forever. And sometimes I think in life, you think you want a certain type of thing, but it's not necessarily true. I always said, even in my book, that I believed my soulmate was a young asexual Indian guy. I haven't totally discounted that idea as a possibility, but at the moment, I don't think it is a possibility. I don't think that way anymore all of a sudden, since I've been with the last guy who was British, younger than me, British, I don't have that need that he's got to be Indian anymore. I don't need that. If I never ended up with an Indian guy, I'd be okay with that. And that's really weird because I've liked Indian guys, as you know, since 2014. Spent nearly 5 years looking for my Indian 5 years, yeah, because March 2014 to basically 2019. A bit longer than March, May time. When I found out I was asexual was around April, May 2014. And since then I've been looking for my Indian asexual soulmate. But since being with the last British guy who wasn't any good for me, I know I can be with a British guy now, and I didn't ever think that before, I didn't ever think that before at all. And asexuality, like I say, is always a journey, of discovery. You can't know everything about yourself, and until you get into a relationship with another asexual, you'll never know totally how it's going to be anyway. Because asexual to asexual relationships are going to be completely different, aren't they, to asexual heterosexual relationships? I've never ever been in an actual in-person relationship with an asexual guy before. I think to truly kiss and be loved by an asexual person without the sex is just be bliss, really. And I hope everyone finds the right person for them to be able to be comfortable enough to do that, knowing it'll never lead to sex, ever. I just think that would be bliss. But yeah, like I said, asexuality's journey, I'm surprised that I can be with a British guy now. I'm quite shocked. I don't think I could be with just any British guy. I don't think I'll be attracted to every British guy, but I'm more open to it now. You know, I didn't even think any British guys were cute until the last guy. You know, I didn't even look at British guys. And I don't really want to start looking at British guys because I'm hyper romantic, you know, and it's like I don't want to be fancying loads of British guys as well as loads of foreign guys. There's quite enough on my plate with fancying loads of foreign guys, do you know what I mean? Like, majority of which I won't ever see in my lifetime because they're all abroad. So it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of a bit of a safer option to fancy foreign guys because nearly all the ones in the UK are homo romantics, which is no good to me anyway. So, you know, I'll probably always find foreign guys and coloured skin aesthetic beautiful because it's just part of who I am, you know, but I don't have to be with an Indian guy anymore. In fact, I don't feel that need, urge, or want like I did before. It's just gone. I'm not saying it's gone completely. I mean, if an Indian guy turned up, he had to be the right guy, but to be honest, I'm just not even thinking about an Indian guy being right for me anymore. Like, I spent 5 years searching. It doesn't mean to say I'm not going to find someone, but I spent 5 years searching for them, you know? And the only good thing, well, one of the few good things that came out of the last relationship I was in for not very long was the fact I realised I could be with a British guy. Although he was like younger than me, and I did really like that. But the thing is, there's a lot of younger guys, they don't know what they want. That's a problem I have because I really get attracted to younger guys, but they don't know what they want, you know? It's no good being with someone you don't know what they want because they're never going to commit. They're never going to give you what you need. And they're going to be at a different life stage, you know? So I think it's hard. I think relationships are very difficult, but I think for asexuals, they're particularly difficult. But I think what eases the thing, you know, what eases everything is if you can be with someone who's your best friend. I think you need that really in life. So yeah, you're all going to be going out thinking, who's my bestest friends now? Which one of them would be suitable for a relationship and which ones won't? So yeah, I mean, obviously, aromantic asexuals, if they're in a relationship, queer platonic relationship, it is usually with someone who's literally their bestest friend and soulmate because they can't really be in a queer platonic relationship with someone who they're not deeply, deeply, deeply friendship devoted to, you know, and they just really fundamentally know they've got to be with that person because for an aromantic, those who lack romantic attraction, asexual to be in a relationship, thank you for the thumbs up. For an aromantic asexual person, you know, it's even more imperative it's their best friend because they don't feel a romantic attraction, but they can feel an overwhelming surge of I've just got to be in a relationship with my best friend, you know. It gets to the stage where there's something that kind of snaps. The ones that really do want a relationship. I'm not on about the aromantics that never want a relationship. I'm on about the ones that do want a clear platonic relationship. Sometimes it's just like something snaps. And it's like, I've got to be with my best friend in a relationship. You know, this is more than just a friendship. This is deeper than just a friendship. And I want to spend my rest of my life with just that one person. I want them close to me. I want to hold them. I want to love them forever. They're my bestest friend that I could never, ever, ever be without. Because that's the thing, let's be honest, right? Let's be really, really honest. As we all know, including aromantic asexuals really know this probably more than ever. Because in my book, in this book, a lot of aromantic asexuals get a bit sad because a lot of their friends are paired off, they're coupled, they're in marriages or relationships, some of them got kids, and the aromantics lose that access to see their friends as much because they're in relationships, and romantic relationships people do tend to value higher than friendships, which a lot of aromantics feel is really upsetting and unfair, you know, and I totally get where they're coming from. And that's why really it's imperative you marry your best friend or be with your best friend in a relationship. If you have a really, really, really best friend that you love more than a friend and you can't actually be without them, you know, just think if that person ends up in a relationship with someone else. Yeah, you might be happy for them, but do you really think they're meant to be with you? If you ask yourself, okay, if any person was more right for that person than me, then yes, they should be with someone else. But if you think you're right for that person more than anything, then you should be with that person, you know? And aromantic asexuals, they need to be with their best friend. If they're having a queer platonic relationship, it's someone who they deeply love, they deeply trust, and they just so bonded to them, they just have to be with them. And something one day even though they're best friends, will just snap and they'll just both decide that, God, this is more than just a friendship. It's about time we turn this into a relationship because we both want it, you know? And I think it's so important to do that, you know? I would just hate someone in their life to walk away from an opportunity to be with their best friend forever because they're fearful, they're scared, they don't realise what's in front of them and the potential it's got, and they're so worried about losing a friend that they lose the love of their life to someone else, you know? I just don't want anyone to be in that movie, you know? And to be the guy who's always loved the girl from afar but never actually gets her. You know, like, they're kind of the underdog, aren't they, of the film? They're known as the underdog, you know? Someone who's not the main character in the beginning, but they usually always win through. Because I think that's what life's about, isn't it? Sometimes life's sometimes not about the one on top, as in the champion. It's sometimes about being the underdog and rising to become the champion you were always born to be. And I think that's true a lot in things like talent shows like The X Factor. I don't know if you've ever seen The X Factor. I'm in the UK. But there's a lot of people who don't actually win the X Factor. They're second. They're like runners up. And the people who come second are usually always more famous, more rich, more popular than the people who win. Because sometimes it's not the actual people who win that are the winners. The winner is the person that puts the most time, the most effort, the most energy into getting what they really want. And they go for it, hell for leather, and they just work their butt off. And I think that's what you've got to think in a relationship too. If there's someone you come across in life that you really want to be in a relationship with, then yeah, it's a scary risk, isn't it? You know? Especially if it's your best friend. It's such a scary, scary, scary risk. But then, okay, if you don't take the risk, what then happens? You know, you risk losing them to someone else. And yes, you can be their best friend still in the background, but you know when someone comes into their life that you're not going to be quite as important or popular because they're going to have their attentions elsewhere, which is just normal. You know, I realise that all my best friends now, all my guy best friends, or all my close asexual friends, they will get partners. And I'll be happy for them that they're happy, right? But that doesn't stop me wanting someone myself. That doesn't stop me wanting to be with the right person myself, you know? I think sometimes we think a certain person is the right person, they're not. And then maybe someone in the background really is, you know? I think a lot of people probably have someone admire them from afar and they just don't realise it, you know? I remember years ago at school? No, not at school. Years ago, when I was working in a job, and there's this guy who liked me for years and I never even realised. But then we ended up not being suitable for a relationship. He was too much of a mummy's boy and wanted to spend time with them, not me. So that didn't work out, and I didn't really want to kiss him either. So yeah. But you know, I think sometimes you always can have someone who's secret, you know, likes you. But yeah, congratulations to my mum and dad, isn't it? 50 years, golden wedding anniversary this Friday. I can't believe it. It's incredible, you know, and that's like take a gold medal to be with each other that long, I think. That's why I say to my mum, you need a gold medal for being with my dad. But my dad's good with her as well, because my mum's got quite a lot of, I don't really talk about my parents much on this channel, but my mum's got quite a lot of illnesses, you know, but she's a real hero, really, because she's super strong. You know, I really admire her strength of character. You know, like whatever happens, all the tests she has to have at hospital and stuff, sometimes she's just so brave. Opposite of me, I get one bit of blood near me, it's like, quick, I want to run away. Like, and she's just so brave. And my dad's really good with all her illnesses and takes it to hospital lots, and yeah, really loves her like that. And wants to make sure she's all right and stuff. So that's good. Yeah. I found out my dad's a stalker on this channel. Hello, Dad! Oh, I cover some really hot topics, as you know, even though it's an asexual channel. It's really funny. But yeah, so I think it's important. I just want to cover best friendship really in a potential partner relationship, because I think people are really, really scared about getting into a relationship with their best friend. And I think that really, really is scary. But like I said, I mean, that guy in Aldi, when he just couldn't even bring himself to not today to say his wife was his best friend, he said he got no friends whatsoever to this customer. I was just shocked. I'm like, how can someone commit to spending the rest of their life with someone who's not a best friend? No matter how much you might fancy them, find them attractive, love, or in sexual cases, lust over them. Do you know, how can you do that? How can you be with someone who's not your best friend? How's that ever going to work? Your dad watches this channel. That's awesome. Thanks, Heather. Well, I don't know. Is it awesome? My dad told me yesterday, oh no, Monday, that he's a stalker on my channel. I'm like, thanks, Dad. I found him secretly subscribed a while ago, actually. I'm like, I didn't know you're subscribed to my asexualized channel. I said to him on Monday, I said to Mum and Dad, I said, oh, maybe he's taking some relationship tips for him and Mum. Well, they have been married 50 years. What more can I say? Maybe I'll help them. Some passion tips. Seems like I talk about no sex, passion on this channel. It's really funny. But yeah. So I don't know where to think as a compliment or not, my dad watching this channel. I think it's very weird in some ways. I mean, considering the content, like I talk about quite a lot of sexual stuff despite it being an asexual channel. But hey, if he wants to get some advice and help, more power to me for being his daughter, for being able to give him some on a live stream. I'm not really shy, as you know. I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. My dad watches me. It's just a bit weird, your dad hearing you talk about some sexual stuff, in it. But then I kind of got used to it, everyone. I wonder if he says hi. No, he never says hi, Heather. I'm quite happy for him not to say hi. I like to keep my channel, my channel stream for you guys. Do you know what I mean? But he listens. Yeah, I found out he listened. But first of all, I found out he was on a subscriber. He's like, oh yeah, I don't really watch it. Not want to see a live stream. Now he's like, oh yeah, I watch bits of it. Why watch bits of it if you're not interested? Of course you're interested, because I like to keep my eye on you. I mean, what? Keep my eye on me. What's going to happen? I'm going to have Eeyore in the background come and take me away. So funny. But yeah, I am saying congratulations to him and Mum, though. 50 years of marriage is awesome, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? 50 years. Golden wedding anniversary. I don't think many people can say that. Although I don't want marriage myself, I do, I was going, don't get me wrong, I think it's wonderful they've been together for 50 years, 50 years. I mean, like to have love last that long is a miracle in this day and age, isn't it? To be quite honest, because a lot of people, I think, well, a lot of sexual people particularly, they haven't got much longevity, have they? Because a lot of the time it's about sticking it in, about fancying different people. Oh, that person's no good for me now. I'll drop them like a hot brick and go on to the next one. And that's what all dating's about, and that's what this it's nice to see you, by the way, Heather. I didn't say that before, but that's what, like, tradition, sort of like more traditional modern date, traditional / modern dates, like, like all the sexual dating sites. A lot of it's about, like just glorification. They love their ego stroked, like how many women can talk to me at once. And it's like, I'm not even interested. My parents been 48 years. Oh, congratulations, Heather. That's amazing. I think it's really fortunate when you've got parents that have been together that long. And my parents really are best friend soulmates. In June the 5th, congratulations to them. Wow, my parents is on the 25th of May. My birthday's on the 24th of April. And my parents is on the 24th of May. I think I said 25th of May then, didn't I? I meant 24th of May. This is a month exactly after my birthday. So, yeah, so I just think I think you've really, really, really got to be with your best friend in a relationship. I don't think it'll work else. Because you're not going, like when you've got your best friend, right, you don't want to lose them, right? You want the relationship to work because it'll tear you apart if you split up. So I think you're more likely to fight for it. You're more likely to try and make it work. You're more likely to compromise. You're more likely to want to make them happy because you truly love them in your deep soul. Do you know what I mean? It's completely different. to artificial love, where you love someone for their appearance, but that might be about it. Or you love someone but you're not really understanding them, you don't really connect with them. It's kind of like a false kind of love that's bred more on, I don't know, ego and I don't know. It's like wearing a jacket that doesn't quite fit. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think if you with a relationship with your best friend, I think you're more likely to put that jacket on and it fit as best it can. It's funny to watch them though. What, your parents? It's funny to watch your parents, did you mean? Yeah, my parents have been married for 50 years, but they don't publicly show affection, not in front of me. And not outside in public, but yeah. But with me, I'm the opposite. I love showing affection in public. I think, when you're asexual as well, it's like you might have been waiting for someone for all your life, and then when you meet them, it's like, oh, I want to kiss them. Mwah, 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 mwah. Do you know what I mean? But hopefully I'll meet the right person one day. Someone who's my best friend, who wants to spend the rest of their life with me like I do with them. And yeah, I really look forward to that day because I think it'll be good. I think your best friend really loves your personality. They really want to see you. They really want to spend time with you. Not affection, just cute arguing. Your parents do cute arguing. Oh my gosh. My parents hardly ever argue, which is weird, isn't it? But they hardly ever argue. I've never seen them very much argue at all. I'm quite blessed like that. But yeah, I don't like arguing. But yeah, it's healthy to a certain extent, I guess. But I don't like voices raised and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather if I was having an argument, I'd rather it be kind of constructive, going, I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about that. Do you know what I mean? Especially with house project. That's hard, isn't it? I think the real, I think obviously in any type of relationship, it's all the difficult times that prove whether you're meant to be together or not the easy times. It's all the difficult times. Do you know what I mean? The hard times when you're both working incredible amounts of hours, and it's how are you going to see each other? When you're both really, really tired and stressed, but you're still there for each other. When someone's had a bad day and you can comfort the other person. When someone's upset, the right things to say without them even telling you because you've just known them so long. And I think when you just want to make them happy and you want to hold them close to you, right? Because you just love them so much, And I just think, no matter whether you're aromantic asexual or romantic asexual, I think if you want to be in a relationship, I think, bestest friendship's the way to go. Because I just think, you're not going to get that satisfaction, that deep satisfaction. It's hard because when I was with the guy for 8.5 years, my last long-term ex, before I got with him, I was actually really thought we were best friends, soulmates. But then when he got in a relationship with me, him, it was horrible because he became, he was very abusive, as I've told you before. And so not sexually, that was the only thing he wasn't abusive over, but everything else, and it's kind of where's the best friend gone? He's just vanished. He wasn't even there in the first place. So I think you've got to be careful of that as well. I think you've got to be careful of some people who are not genuine best friends. They pretend they are to get what they want, and then once they've got you in a relationship, they're not really true. So you have got to be careful of false best friends as well. But that's where you've got to be real, true best friends, over a long period of time with someone, so that that they genuinely are your best friend, not just for a few months. Mind you, my ex was friends with him for 8 months before I got with him. It wasn't it was just a little bit. So, but I find society has changed over the years. Yeah, society has changed, Heather. Unfortunately, I don't think it's for the better a lot of the time, I think it's horrible. I don't want to be on sexual dating sites, right? The only time I ever went on a sexual dating site since I've found out I was asexual was literally to find my Indian soulmate, because that's all I cared about. I'm literally on a mission to find my soulmate and bestest friend in my life for a relationship. Just whoever they are, that's what I want in my life. I don't want to be with someone who's not my best friend and love of my life, because you've got to think down the line. People think too much of gratification in the moment, right? They think, oh, I want this instantly now, right? They don't think of years to come. But you've got to think of the person. Are they going to look after you? I'm not necessarily talking about financial, I'm talking about emotionally. I think emotional stability and security is the most important thing in a relationship, really. Because no matter what happens, if you're not emotionally stable and secure within the relationship, you're never going to be really truly happy, and you're never going to find comfort in the other person. You're always going to be all over the place. I think it's really important that you've got that, you know, and that you can pull each other through. I need to, like, if I get with someone, I don't just want it to be for a short period of time. I don't see the point in that. It's a waste of time to me. I'd rather be with someone who I really want to spend the rest of my life with on a permanent basis, you know, and that I can see me in the future with them, that they will take good care of me and they will be there for me no matter what, and that we'll always love each other. Do you see what I mean? And I think you're only going to get that with someone who's a real deep, best soulmate friend to you. You know, you're not going to get it else. And you've got to be with someone who you can share secrets and tell everything to. Like, not someone who hides things, or someone who's distant from you, because you can't really ever get into their soul then. And you need to kind of, to be soulmates, you kind of be, you're in each other's souls, if you know what I mean. And you just, you know, you're just there. And I just think, you know, that you know, I don't, the traditional sexual dating sites, I don't want to be on them. The only reason I'll ever go on considering going back on one of them is to find the right guy for me. But yeah, we are bombarded by sex, Heather, and it's a shame, you know. I find the hardest thing being asexual, if I'm honest, is the fact of the type of asexual I am as well, because I do have grey areas, and I find that really difficult, you know, because I don't really fit into an asexual box. You know, I'm too sexual in behaviour for a lot of asexuals who are just romantic asexuals, and definitely not sexual enough for those on the much more sexual end of the spectrum, or sexuals. I'm like stuck because I don't like sex whatsoever. I'm not interested. I don't need, urge, or want for it. But yet, where I like to kiss is very sexual in behaviour. I can't help it. So I'm a bit stuck like that. I need a best friend who'll understand that about me and who'll want the same, really. You know, someone who will want a passion but without the sex, you know. Someone who'll want me badly but not in the sex stick it in way. I just think it's so horrible as well, yeah. You know, like, I like getting physically close with clothes on, but I don't want sex. And I love my clothes being on, which is very unusual. I mean, most sexual people, I'm not being funny, but they don't want a person to keep their clothes on. They want them taken off. They love nudity and all that lot. So I find that we're not just bombarded by sex, but we're bombarded by nude images. And everyone in society thinks it's fine to be like that. You know, most asexuals think nudity is fine. I don't. I hate it. I think the body looks so much more beautiful clothed. Like, I don't mind a guy's chest being naked now, got used to that. But, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I think a body looks good clothed, you know, I always have done. You know, it's like kind of like how I say that is like, well, when a baby's in the womb, it's got a sack round it. It's actually got some clothing like on, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? So that to me is more natural. Because a lot of people can't understand that, like, oh, nudity is natural, naked is natural. I'm thinking, well, no, actually, the baby's in a sack. It's got some clothing on. It's got like covered up. Do you know what I mean? Although it's see-through, it's covered up a bit. It's got some protection there. Like, and I think of clothes as, I guess, like protection as well. So I'm not saying I would never be naked with a partner in the future if I really, really want to be. I just can't see that happening for a very long time, if ever, you know. But yeah, I think that's the problem with, you know, trying to find a best friend for a relationship if you haven't already got a best friend that you could be in a relationship with, because obviously some of your best friends might not be suitable. I think that's really difficult because I think because people are so sex obsessed that they'll try and lie to you about being a best friend. Like I was just saying, they'll try and make out they're your best friend because they'll tell you what you want to hear and they won't really have your best interests at heart. And so I think it's very difficult to find someone who really does truly love and care about you on that really fundamental level, you know. But I do find it hard myself because I don't feel I fit into any specific definite asexual box. I mean, obviously I do because I'm heteromantic. I'm definitely only attracted to guys romantically, and I don't want sex. But it's like I have these grey areas, but I'm not a textbook grey A, because a grey asexual does experience sexual attraction under limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or not enough to want to act on it. And I'm not that person. You know, it doesn't matter how physically close I get. Like, even if I'm sat on the guy's lap or in between his legs, I still never want sex. Like, I might like the sensation of being close to him physically, but I don't want sex, which, like, is more of a grey A type of asexual. But the grey A's, some of them, they want to rip clothes off and stuff, and I don't want that. So I think it's very difficult to get a best friend for an asexual relationship who really understands you and the way you work and who wants to like have a relationship with you just the way you are. I think it's quite hard. I find it really hard. It's like most of the asexuals that I know that are romantics, I'm just too passionate for them in the kissing. But the other asexuals, they're just too scary. It's too scary for me. Like it's too sexual for me. So I kind of want to run away and cuddle my cuddly toys. It's like, it's very difficult, I think. But I do believe there's someone out there for everyone. I do believe that the right person will come along and be there for you and stay in your life always. I do believe they'll be steadfast and strong. I do believe they'll love you implicitly. I do believe they're probably right under your nose. You never even looked at it. Like, go through the groups you're in, the asexual dating groups and stuff, and find out who it is or on your friends list who you like really adore. But it's really important to get someone who is your bestest friend in life, because you're never going to trust anyone more, really, are you? And I think even, like, it's like I can't really be with a sexual person, it's not going to work because they need sex at the end of the day, and I can't do that. I can't do that. And like I said, all the traditional dating sites, it's all, a lot of it's just fake, and it's just like people just wanting a quick fix of someone saying, oh, I fancy you. It's like I got sexual guys attracted to me all the time. I mean, wonderful in a way that they find me that attractive, but it just doesn't do anything more, because it's like another sexual person, another sexual person, another sexual person. It's like, where are the asexual guys? Where's the one asexual guy that I can be with, Like, it's flattering, but it's not flattering when some of them are married, It's like there's this guy on Facebook. I've got loads of friends requests on there lately, and like this guy is like married and he's like talking to me, and I know that it fancies me just to like go, oh, hello, how are you? And I'm thinking, why are you even asking straight? But I did tell him about asexuality, actually. So I did have a conversation telling him what it was, and he started saying to me, oh, well, do you masturbate? I'm like, that's my business, not yours. And you see what I mean? It then gets very personal. Like, I don't mind people talking and educating people about it, but a strange guy I've just met. I mean, I just said to him, oh, your wife's very beautiful, because he's got a picture of his wife with him in his profile. He goes, oh, thank you. And to remind him he's got a wife, it's like, why are you busy talking to me about all this type of stuff when really you should be focused on your wife? And I think that's a problem with a lot of relationships today, is they're so busy trying to look for personal gratification outside the relationship for all these people to fancy them, for I don't know if they're bored in their relationship or what, that they're looking outside it. If they really, really was focused more on the relationship they got, on being a best friend with the person they're in a relationship with, on really loving that person and talking to them and caring about them and not looking elsewhere, then the world would be a much better place, much better place. But the amount of people that just go and I've it's not the first time I've had married guys. I've had other married guys that are interested in me. It's like, I don't like it coming from married guys. If they're single, it's fine. It's like, oh, that's really nice. Well, even then, I don't really like it because a lot of it's sexual. But when they're married, it's like, what's the point in you committing to that one person for the rest of your life if all you're doing is going around in private message chatting me up and other people? And that's why I find it really hard to trust any guy, to be quite honest with you, for a relationship, because I know what guys are like. I mean, I've got guy friends. I know a lot of guy sexuals as well. And it's like, why are you busy chatting me up when you've clearly got I mean, this guy who's just messaged me, he's actually from India as well. And I, because I'm from India, I said, I can see that. And I said, you've got a gorgeous wife. I mean, I don't even, usually use the word gorgeous and a woman because I'm not interested in women. But for him, and I want to remind him he's got a wife. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can clearly see you've got a wife. And I think if people put more time, energy, and effort into the person that they're with and in growing the friendship, I think when people get into a relationship, they kind of like forget the friendship part. Some people, not my mum and dad, I'm very fortunate like that, but some people, they forget the friendship part. It's like, well, if you're not best friends in the first place, why get with them? But then, when I saw that guy in Aldi today and he said he had no mates and he couldn't even bring himself to say his wife's his best friend, it's like, the hell are you doing then? Marrying someone who you don't feel that way about? I don't, but I do know some sexuals, they can be in a relationship with a person and still have someone else as their best friend. It's very awkward. Like, a guy could be married and then still have another woman best friend. I mean, I have a guy, right, who is Indian, who's talks to me sometimes, but he's married now with a kid, right? Appreciation what you got, because the grass is never greener, exactly, Heather. People should really appreciate what they got, but they don't. They're always looking around for extra gratification, for what's outside the relationship, for something better, for whatever they think, and they're never satisfied with what they've got, and they could have someone beautiful, kind and caring and gorgeous right in front of them, but no, they'd rather go elsewhere, test something else out that's clearly not really that exciting or gonna work. And like, I want a good guy for me, like I really want a good guy for me, the right person for me. Not, it doesn't have to be the most stud in the world, because a lot of, like I said, a lot of those guys, they cheat anyway. But I was just like, I just so sad when the guy in Aldi couldn't even bring himself to say his wife's his best friend. I mean, what's the point in getting married? Do you know what I mean? What's the point in, but I do know, like I was saying, there's some guys and they'll have someone else as their best friend, and it's like, why aren't you in a relationship with your best friend? They're like, oh, because we weren't suitable to be in a relationship together. But I just don't get it, really. I just don't get it. Validation is a problem. Exactly, Heather. Validation is a problem. That's why they look outside the relationship. But if your partner was making you feel that special, that wanted, that needed, and they were there for you whenever you really need them, as much as they possibly can be, like, I would try and be there for my partner. Like, I have a lot of work to do in terms of websites, blogging and stuff. I have a lot of stuff, people I talk to, but I've always got that space for that person, I'll always try and make time for them, because I think, like, I can't, I'm not interested in sex, so that's out the question. But the one thing I don't want to be cooking and cleaning for a guy. I'm not interested in housework, I can't be doing with that in my life. I don't want a guy who wants me to do that for him. I'm not his mother, right? And I'm not his maid. So it's like, but the one thing I can really give him is emotional security and stability and caring about him and being there for him when he needs me a lot of the time, like that. I feel I'm very good at that. I'm very emotionally empathetic. I've got deep empathy in an emotional way. That's what I'm trying to say. Can't even speak properly. And empathy, I can empathize a lot, and I can really feel someone's emotions, especially when I'm really close to them, like best friends, soulmates. If they open up to me, if they keep the channel of communication open and they're always really open and honest, I can feel them, if you know what I mean. And so I really can care about them on a fundamental level and be there for them. I hope they would always be there for me, like in times of crisis and stuff and upset and pain, because it's going to happen in life. Stuff's going to happen in life that's just going to be like, whoa, and so stressful, isn't it? You have to be there for each other, love each other and support each other as much as possible. So I think it's really important that you do get your best friend to be in a relationship with, that like, I know two people, right? And they were best friends, I think, for about 7 years before they actually ended up being in a relationship together. They didn't feel attraction for each other in a romantic sense in the beginning. And after 7 years of being friends, all of a sudden they just got together. I think within 8 months they got married and they had a kid. And they've been happily ever after since. So sometimes, like, maybe you got best friend and you don't like totally love them in the romantic way at the moment. You're not like infatuated as much or at that stage yet. But maybe that down the line you'll end up being with them. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we all know about movies, romantic movies, a lot of the time how they end, don't they? And I think you can have. I believe in happy endings. I believe that you can have fairy tales come true and dreams come true. I do. I'm a heteromantic who's hyper romantic, and I actually believe that you can make happy endings come true. I do. I really do. And I always like see these films where it's like, when are the guy and the girl going to get together? Please, I want to scream at the TV screen. Do you know what I mean? I think that can happen in real life. I feel you can get to a stage where you just want to scream, like, why are these two people not in a relationship together? I want to bash their heads together, what's going on with them? And, I'm sure there's some asexuals who are really, really close like that to another person, and they're thinking strongly about being in a relationship with them, but they're just too scared to go ahead and try it and do it because they fear about losing the friendship. But you've got to think that's all good and well, but eventually that person will go and get someone else. They won't stick around for it, even though they're your best friend. They probably won't be around forever, if you don't act on the way you really feel with them, you know? So don't give up the opportunity to be in a relationship with your best friend if you think that they're really the one for you. They're the right person for you. And sadly, none of us really know, do we, totally, if that person's going to be right for us until we get into a relationship with them. Really, that's what's hard as well, I think. But I think, you know, like, the bestest friend can give you so much more than someone who can't. So the bestest friend, you know, you'll always have that bond with them. You'll always have that understanding. You'll always have that caringness. You'll always have that best friend feeling with them. You'll always have that I want to talk to them feeling. You'll always have them like on your mind at some point in the day, usually. I think about my friends quite a bit, even though I'm not romantically attracted to them usually. I can have romantic attraction for some friends sometimes. And you know, I think about my friends quite a lot because they're important to me. But obviously when you love someone, you think about them like, I don't know, 10 times more, don't you? And when you love them in a relationship sense, I think. And I think that's how you know if someone's really right for you, that you just can't stop thinking about them. You just feel more for them than you've ever felt in your life for anyone else. You just think it's right and you're meant to be with them. Like sometimes it's your intuition and gut, isn't it? It's just like you're meant to be with this person. You don't kind of know why totally, but then you do know why because they're your bestest friend and soulmate, you know? So yeah, anyway, I think that concludes tonight's episode. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, I do think before I go, I do think validation is a problem with a lot of sexual dating sites. And I think in general validation is the problem. You know, I think, you know, especially when you get loads of sexual, I mean, I get loads of sexuals interested in me, but you know, like, you know, like, you'll get these guys on Facebook and they'll friend you and they've got like all the women, all the friends they're friends with is women all over their Facebook. It's like, you've probably got another profile that you're probably married with kids and then you're just doing this on the side. It's like, what is your problem? You know, why aren't you loving the person you're with? I think it's such a waste of love to just give it away like that and thrash it around. You know, it's like, I think if your partner's making you feel special, happy, wanted, needed, you shouldn't need to look outside the relationship. You've got everything you want within it. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, thank you for being my friend on here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Heather. You know, I love you as my friend. You're amazing. You always watch this channel and support me. You're a lovely, lovely person. Friends, obviously. Me and Heather are both female, so we're not attracted to each other. I'm only attracted to heteros. And so, you know, but I love Heather as my friend. You know, she's amazing. She's always supporting this channel. Thank you so much. And there's been someone else watching all night, pretty much, this channel. So episodes, I really appreciate you watching as well, whoever you are. And I'll give you lots of love, lots of care and compassion. I wish you to have a beautiful, beautiful night, morning, day, wherever you are. I hope you find the love of your life. I hope you find that bestest friend, soulmate who you can spend the rest of your asexual life with, and you can live an absolute asexual bliss with them forever and a day. I really wish that for all of you out there, all of you that want partners. I really wish you that and the best of luck with it. Anyway, until next time, good night, Heather. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit the great subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like that, I post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we go along if you're enjoying the content. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Lots of love to all of you. As always, thank you for being here, for your support, for your kind comments. I get quite a bit. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the way you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, in my Facebook groups. Thank you for all the comments, shares, the likes, the love, the views. I wouldn't be doing this channel if it wasn't for you. And it means the world to me to have you on my asexual journey, because sometimes it's really not easy being asexual, as you know, and sometimes the journey is a rocky one. You know, it's up and down the whole time. And, you know, relationships are one of the most difficult things, I think, for asexuals. But united, we are strong. United, we are together. And, you know, by sharing our experiences, hopefully we can help each other out. Anyway, take care. Lots of love. Take care. Have a beautiful night, day, wherever you are. And always stay ace. Bye. Bye.